if you're willing to put in a little bit of effort, God will meet us way more than halfway. I really believe that. I did wake up on my 50th birthday with my surgeon saying, Maureen, I think I got all the cancer out. And so I said to him, how can I ever repay you for saving my life? And he said, live a good life. You can repay me by living a good life. And there's a lot to unpack in that. But after my first time crossing paths with Francis, that is what came to me. I was like, wait a minute, maybe I'm doing that. Maybe after the cancer and brokenness and the divorce and the loss, maybe I am living a good life by just following in these footsteps of Christ. And at that point, I don't know when this happened, but it was probably Psalm 139 about God's omniscience. I started to really see that God was searching for me, that I started to feel like I was the lost one that was being found. And that's so easy to say now. It sounds so cliche, whatever, but I started to understand that God had never left me. Like, I do believe that God suffers with us and struggles with us. And I started to feel as if I had always been, just because bad things had happened didn't mean that God had left me. And that was so, it sounds so simple, but that was a game changer. And I don't know at what point that really became clear. Just this idea of God, how God's love finds me all the time. And so I do absolutely feel at this point that nothing can, I know that it's true. I believe that nothing can separate me from the love of Christ. That is everything to me at this point.
Yeah, well, you're getting into something else that's really profound as well. I love how you keep flipping it. You know, like we talked about, it's not just about listening to God, it's about daring to believe that God's listening to you. And then you mentioned the shepherd going out and finding the one lost sheep. So now it's not just about you following the shepherd, like the shepherd's following and looking for you. And I think there's something really important there when it comes to rediscovering God, because we tend to think that God, or whatever word you want to use to name the unexplainable force, like undergirding life, the universe, the world, creation, whatever word you want to use there. I mean, we tend to think that we're subjects, we're peasants who have to go to the king on the throne, and usually the king is shaking his finger at us and is frustrated with us about what we're like. For me, it was like, it seems like God's either mad at me for something I'm doing or something I'm not doing.
Yeah.
like the perfectionist in me would just be like, there's always something I'm doing that God's mad at, or something I'm not doing that God's mad at. And it's just like this performance, kind of treadmill. I remember reading Henry Nouwen's Life of the Beloved, and he flips things too, where it's like, yeah, when God says, this is my beloved son, on you my favor rests, God's saying that about you as well. And I bring that up because it makes me think of what you said about the shepherd. It's like, yeah, eventually maybe the sheep does follow the shepherd again, but what a earth-shattering thought to think about. No, the shepherd's also following you, and that's a different metaphor of God to discover.
I totally love that, because I absolutely get so much comfort out of, there's nothing that I've been through that he wouldn't understand, like any sense of betrayal or loss. And I feel that way about Mary too, like what she had to witness as a parent. She had to watch her child suffer and was completely powerless over that. And, also just want to say briefly in terms of Mary, one thing that the recent trip to Assisi, that I was so many things captivated me, but the most famous picture of St. Francis, I guess it's Cimabue, you say, like the most famous portrait of Francis that we all have. I have it over there. It's actually, they crop it, so it's just Francis's face, But in fact, he's actually right next to Mary and angels. And I was so struck by that wow, like here Francis is like never far from Mary. Like Mary's always a part of the narrative. And it does have to do with trusting that they know what suffering really is, like hardcore powerlessness over, your own or somebody else's addiction. Or like I've written lately about my mom's Alzheimer's has been a big theme, like the pain of that. And how does God bring me into that situation? And what am I learning from it? And just so many things, the loss of my sister-in-law, like processing these different things and some of the miracles that came out of that. But it really is a faith of the human and the divine. And I just can't imagine not having those faces to turn to. That's what I get out of so much of my faith. Is just, I need those faces. I need people there. And it's a family to me at this point.